When I started Neversink Farm, when me and my wife moved up to the country and started it, we didn't actually start from zero, but there's no reason someone else couldn't start from zero. But we did start with very, very little. The land was just rocks. There was barely electric here. That all had to be done. There was no water. There was really nothing here. And we leased the land, and we did it in exchange for vegetables. We didn't actually pay anything for it. So while we had a lease, there was no lease amount. And we just said when we, hopefully when we earn money, we'll be able to pay our rent, which we did after a couple of years. We turned it into a yearly rent. And so there was no upfront cost when it came to the land. In terms of investment, a year before when we started the farm, we just started saving. And we saved about $30,000. Close to 10 of that was spent on a BCS with implements. And we don't no longer use a BCS. We don't till. I don't need it. There's really no reason for it in our system. It's just an unnecessary tool. So we wouldn't have needed that, so maybe just the 20,000. And so what I did, we bought a hoop house, and only 48 feet of this one was the original hoop house. It was small. It was not too much money. I think it was like $6,000 for everything. So it was 48 feet by 30 feet. And the great thing about that was we were able to grow early tomatoes and really increase our earnings the first year. That was huge. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to spend that kind of money. You can actually start with a cheap hoop house with scavenged materials, some PVC pipe, or build your own caterpillar tunnel and bend the pipe. And we did that our first few years too. It's not a long-term solution for us, but to get going and to get a high-value crop so that you can take that money and reinvest it back in the farm. And that's the key, is to be able to reinvest quickly, even if you're bootstrapping it, to reinvest quickly back into the farm, which is what we did. I invested everything we could. We sacrificed a lot. We sacrificed our time. We sacrificed doing all the work ourselves. We worked 7 days a week, and instead of spending that money on other things, we took it and reinvested it, and took the 48-foot house and turned it into a 100-foot house. And then after a couple of years, added heat and ventilation, and just increased production and increased production over time more and more by reinvesting and reinvesting. Starting with very little to nothing, and just taking everything we earned and reinvesting it back into the farm. And that, from the first year until now, that graph is like this. It's just straight up, as long as you're reinvesting, because you don't want to stay the same. You don't want to continue growing in a makeshift house that just takes so much time and effort to earn money. But it's worth it if that time and effort to earn money that can be reinvested back into the farm. And not only do we extend this house, but we continue to invest in better pieces of equipment, and also in more houses. So we invested in more houses as we went, and instead, and we could invest quicker and make bigger changes. Small changes at the beginning, and then bigger changes as we moved. And really grow to a farm that, we don't pay rent anymore. We were able to buy the property, buy the house that came with it, buy the barn, and be full owners in it. And that didn't take many years to be able to do that, but it took a lot of reinvestment. That hard work instead of money at the beginning, and taking that hard work and turning it into cash that can be help grow the farm.